Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. I've been trying to think of a good way to do these videos. I've got multiple options, and with this one we're going to go ahead and try to do just a really quick unboxing slash overview. And before we jump into it, what I want to know from you: do you have any experience with Northern Tool, whether that be at a physical retail store, through the catalog, and what did you buy? What do you think of what you bought? Now, me personally, my experience with them, I've gotten their catalog for years. It was somehow, I guess they got the work mailing address. I've never bought anything from them. I've looked through it. There's some neat stuff. They seem to have like their own house brands and some name brand, like Channel Lock type of stuff, Stanley, so on and so forth. But the prices didn't really blow me away ever. And more importantly, it was like a mail order deal, and I could get the majority of the stuff locally or from another vendor. Now, fast forward, there is now a legit Northern Tool retail store in Lubbock. I was down there a couple weekends ago, and there was a tool I needed, and I went in and I got it. What that tool is right here. This is from Klutch. It is their part number 47914. It is the air punch and flange tool. Full disclaimer, never had I dealt with Northern Tool, never have I heard of Klutch. Now, before I purchased this, I made sure they had it. I wasn't going to walk in the store if they didn't have this type of a tool. And they did. They showed to have it in stock. I went in. Zero experience. I had never, prior to that day, heard of Klutch. I'm assuming Klutch is a house brand of Northern Tool. Could be wrong. I kind of view it as like a Central Pneumatic is to Harbor Freight type of a thing. And really, that's the only other place I knew where to get one of these relatively local would be Harbor Freight. As fate would have it, I was by Northern Tool, not Harbor Freight. And there you go. That's my justification. What I like about this is there was nothing on it. Now, that's bad and good. It's bad because, hey, I've never heard of it. There doesn't seem to be any, no one's touting it, no one's pushing it, no one's saying anything good about it. On the flip side, there's also no one saying anything bad about it. And I can almost assure you, if somebody walked into Northern Tool and bought this or any other Klutch tool, when I searched for it online, I would find tons of negative reviews. So, trying to be optimistic and take advantage of my current geographical location, which is the Northern Tool parking lot, I justified this purchase. So what did we pay? We paid $69.99 plus tax out the door for under $75. And I do have to admit, I like the aesthetics of this one. Most air tools, I'd say like, 95% of air tools are all the same. They're the same old silver. Every once in a while you get one that's like got a padded rubber grip or something. Maybe a black shaft here and there. But for the most part, it's all the same. This is black, and that's really the only difference, but hey, it offsets. If you work in a fab shop, you have to bring your own tools. This one will stand out. It will stick out like a sore thumb, in my opinion, that being a good thing. So, I also do kind of like it better than the traditional style. Not sure why. I do wish that this was padded. I do wish that this was black. It kind of seems out of place there. That's just a minor complaint. If you're asking yourself, hey, you didn't unbox that, what's it doing here? Well, I have used this thing. I've already put it to good use. I punched probably 250 plus holes, I think 256 mathematically. Flanged on accidents, and that works great too. But what I like about this is they give the specs and capacities. So we're going to need 90 psi. It consumes 3.5 CFMs of air. 3/16 is the punch size. The head rotates 360 degrees. I'm not sure why that's a huge selling point, because with most people with a pneumatic tool, it's on a coupled airline and it will just swivel, right? In the airline, I'm not sure. Maybe they didn't notice that. Maybe there's people with fixed ones. I don't know, but it is a nice feature. I just personally, before I rotate the head, I will be coming in and just twisting the tool. I think it just works better and more efficiently. 14 gauge material. I can't tell you how nice it is that somebody actually puts what a tool is capable of working with. When you're punching something, if you want this to do 10 gauge metal, it is not the tool for you. You're going to be sorely disappointed. Similarly, if you just want it to do 18 gauge or 24 gauge for crafts or whatever it might be, this can handle it and then some. And that's typically when you're happiest with the tools, when it not only does what you want it to, but it could slightly outperform it. that's where we would be with this. Me personally, what do I care the most about for this? 16 gauge, because that's the body panels for old Chryslers. 14 gauge, perfect for me. $69.99, pulled the trigger. I've used it. I like it. In hand, again, this is kind of what we look like. We've got the clutch sticker here. You flip it around, you've got another one there. Serial number is blank. I actually don't see serial number anywhere. You're supposed to document it. I did have the question of, was this used? That's why I asked you if you'd ever been in Northern Tool, what your experience was. The place had 2 of these. They keep them in a lock and key cabinet, which is vastly different than Harbor Freight, at least last time I was in. But that was there. It's odd because, you know, the item number is right here. I don't know why you need it there sideways and kind of a harder to read pin. But hey, maybe that's why I don't work in retail. But that is that. And I opened this up. Silica gel was present. The trigger just simply slid through this opening in the box. This bag, it was in a bag, but it wasn't sealed on one side. And the problem is, if somebody had used this, it looks brand new. It didn't have oil in it. And they would be the most precise cutter of plastic that you could ever possibly hope for. My thoughts are kind of that it's just delivered this way. If you have experience with Klutch and Northern Tool, please let me know. I've already used it now and it worked fine. But I was kind of curious about that. But I can tell you, just like with Harbor Freight, when you come out of a place like that with a tool, people aren't going to come in and just cut it with precision, right? They're just probably going to tear the bag open and get it out and go to work. And most times if it was returned, I don't even think the bag would be with it. So is this new or used, repaired, refurbished? I don't know. I'm leaning towards new, just in part because, you know, it was functional, number one, and number two, there weren't any signs of wear, but that's kind of suspect. But yet again, I'm not familiar with the brand, so that's where I ask you. Packaging, the box, not too shabby. Again, aside from this and not knowing if it was actually used or refurb type of a thing. Do not include a coupling, not a big deal. We've got a bunch of them threaded in and get to work. I love that the trigger, this sounds stupid until you know what I'm talking about. On a lot of sanders I have and a couple of air tools, the lever or the trigger, it's not fixed like this, it's floppy. Like if I were to flip this over, it comes back and it would cycle the whole way until something stops it. And when you're up under a car working on something or punching, you know, like a body panel you're trying to get in and you're upside down, when this flips, it's not always easy, especially with an air hose attached, to just rotate it back and catch it, right? So with it being fixed, that's a huge selling point. The rubber grip surface, kind of nice. I think it needed, for my hand, I would have preferred it to come up a little bit, not the end of the world. The business end here, again, does it really rotate, you say? Keep your eye on the screw. If we bring it back down, yes. Not very well, but it does rotate. Again, personally, I would just rotate here and achieve the same effect with less effort. That's just me. But 3/16 is our punch size. You can kind of see that right there. Flange right here, we've got out and in and out, sort of creates the anvil. Kind of looks like a boot from this side, or the letter L, canary's mouth, a parrot's head, all kinds of crazy shapes. Ultimately, that creates a flange. Again, these are great for patch panels, butting panels up together, stitching the metal, things of that nature. The punch, the only real limitation is the depth, and I think it's like less than an inch, probably 3/4. Let's actually see. Yeah, about a 1/2 of an inch there. From 2 to 2.5, that's kind of your maximum depth. And then the issue, you can go that far in, but the punch is fixed. So you're kind of set in stone with what you can do with it. But again, I punched roughly 250 plus holes, and it did a fantastic job. This is something I won't use every weekend, I won't use all the time. But when we do use it, it's going to be very much appreciated. It's going to save us a whole lot of effort doing things manually. You do need to oil this thing, of course, here before you use it, and here as well. And that's important because you don't want your motor to rust. Essentially what happens, if you didn't know, even if you have things set up perfectly with drops, when you come through your flex line, you build up condensation. That condensation gets in the motor of the air tool, and of course, what does water and metal do? It rusts. That's not a good combination. What does oil do? it prevents and limits that. So just come in, drop some air tool oil in there. What did that turn out to be? 3/16? Nope, 5mm. Something cool on the Vera hex keys. I was thinking this was SAE just because I just run with that. That's what I grew up with, right? And I pulled out the size I thought it was, which was 3/16, and it fits, but not really, you know, that type of a thing. Apparently, across the lines, you know, 3/16 is the light orange jacket. The 5mm was the light orange jacket. Pull it up out of the clip, put it in, boom, perfect fit. So that's sort of cool because if you're in a situation and you don't know, like, hey, is this metric or is it, you know, imperial? I don't know what the manufacturer did. I have no way of knowing. If you grab metric and you get it in there and it doesn't quite fit, you can just color code it with your SAE one and pull out that same color, and it'll probably be the perfect match. If not, you're only going to be one off. But I thought that was a nice touch. And overall, for $70, I'm not too disappointed with this thing. Like I said, I am optimistic we get a good life cycle out of it. I think we will. The one I had from my buddy was ancient, and that thing was a beast. I did the entire trunk floor with the charger, but there's a lot of holes when you go to plug weld that thing. A lot of holes. And this, we achieved the same thing. I do wish that you could kind of change the dies out, or if it came 1/4 inch. I think 1/4 inch would be better for me personally. 3/16 is kind of in that same sweet spot. Really 3/16 quarter, 5/16 would be ideal, but hey, it is what it is. And like I said, it does a very nice job. So I found nothing on this, and subsequently I wanted to make a video on it to let you know that A, it exists, B, I bought it, and C, I used it and it didn't suck. And that's worth something. So what will this do long term? I have absolutely no clue. It's got a 1-year warranty on it. I assume we're good for that amount of time. Otherwise, they wouldn't put that on there. And past that, I really couldn't tell you. It seems heavier. I've used quite a few of these, most recently my friends, which again, I have no idea what the brand of that one was. But it's a very simple tool. There's not much to go wrong with it. It's just one of those deals. This one seems heavy, and heavy is typically a good thing. Not great, you know, in terms of being under a car in weird positions, but in terms of the internals, that's usually a desirable trait. I'd rather have something heavy than something super lightweight and cheap, right? That's kind of the difference between a steel gear or something cast versus something plastic. And of course, we're set up here. I think we're going to have a lot of good times with that. Certainly make life easier, and the longevity, that remains to be seen. But like I said, if you've got direct experience with Klutch or anything Northern Tool house brand, by all means let us know. Leave a comment, tell people, hey, you know, I've had this stuff for years, it's fantastic. Or, oh gosh, I wish you didn't buy that, that thing sucks, you're going to be disappointed. You probably got 2 months with it. I have no clue. I just know that it did what I needed it to, and it did it well, so I'm pretty content with that. But like I said, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you are following us on Twitter and Instagram, both at Lone Star Mopars. The website, lonestarmopars.com. Make sure you subscribe, ring the bell, jump through the flaming hoops, kick the man off the cliff, whatever else YouTube has currently done to prevent people from knowing uploads went live and that they exist for your viewing pleasure. And we will catch you back here for more action from the shop.